Hi everybody, it's Polly here. Yay! So, there's been some reprints of some of the old classics of wargaming being done. And it's glorious to see. These are books that I loved as a young kid. Sort of as I was in the 70s, as I was just kind of discovering gaming. You could go into public libraries and find these things. Books by Charles Grant, books by Donald Featherston, books by Brigadier Peter Young. These were charming books. They're really interesting because a modern set of rules, grunt rules. These were always done like a conversation with the author, these old books, where you're kind of an equal, you're a friend. We're going to talk together about something we want to do. We're going to look at a way of handling a game based on this, and at the end of it, we'll both kind of have agreed on a set of rules. This is what I've come up with. You might want to take these your own way, but here's a whole set of rules summarized in the back. There's a particular charm to this one. This is Battle by Charles Grant, back in print, hardcover, beautiful. But this has been reprinted and added to by his grandson, Charlie Grant. So Charles Grant did many of the original gaming books. This one is quite famous for. This was a World War II set of games rules. Now, one of the reasons that I review these is not only that these are an old pleasure for, old coots like me, but these are still really good, solid games. In some cases, they've been lost a little bit in the mists of time, particularly now they're coming back as reprints, though. They can rightfully take their place as games that we all play and share because they're playable, thoroughly playable. They're not outmoded. They haven't been outgrown. These are good games. So, Battle. Wonderful that so effectively what's happened is the grandson of Charles Grant, Charlie Grant, is a wargamer. And he wanted to play World War II games, and he was mussing about with different rules, and he wanted something sort of a bit this, a bit that. And someone just said, well, have you thought of looking at your grandfather's rules that he published? And he blinked, got hold of the book, read it, said, yes, actually, this is what I want to play. He's added some extra material on into it, and has also added some ref sheets and so on, separate ref sheets at the back that you can pull out. So, like I said, a conversation with the author. So Charles Grant is giving you an introduction to what these rules are, and then what he does is he does a little talk. So we're going to do some World War II rules because that's kind of a fun period, and I know there are other periods, but let's look at this one. Pretty easy to do. It's referring to the models that were available at the time and sort of saying, these won't cost you that much. So in order to do a set of rules, we're going to have to look at these considerations. We're going to have to look at time and movement and weapons and vehicles, how to fire, effects of armor in protecting vehicles from fire. We're going to have to look at things like artillery and so on. Don't be too worried. We'll look at these one by one and we'll make rules for each of them. And at the end of this, we'll have a set of rules which we'll put at the back. And that's what it is. It kind of takes you hand by hand through it. So here's our time. Do we need to do specific time scales? Or maybe we should leave it more nebulous. So let's agree on this. But if we're taking the time as being about this, movement. Well, if humans move at about 3 miles an hour as they walk and whatever, we're looking on our scale, ground scale that we chose, will be about this much on the battlefield, which means, let's say a wheeled vehicle driving down roads can go this far, but let's say that under battle conditions it's going to normally travel slower because they're wanting to look out and keep an eye. So let's say it's going to go about half its listed speed. Now let's say that tracked vehicles, they'll go this far, they're rated for this far, but again we'll say it goes at a slower rate if it's being cautious. A penalty for wheeled vehicles off-road is greater, so but in essence, the speed of a vehicle in miles an hour actually comes to an actual amount moving on the battlefield. Great. And then how to fire. This is all done in D6s. He's got a an armor system. Here's how we defeat armor, and roll to see what damage we've done. So it just takes you through bit by bit. Artillery and so on. We're going to use this kind of, here's how we just make a simple oblong grid to decide where the rounds actually randomly land. You're going to roll a d6 and place them in here. It's a very good, very simple system. It's kind of strange, I have to say. So what he's done is one miniature is one person or one vehicle. So you're looking at kind of running maybe a company of infantry running around and some tanks and some things. In splitting it up, he sort of said, okay, so the infantry, we've got rifles, submachine guns, rules for that. He's taken machine guns, but he hasn't kind of drawn a line between... he doesn't seem to have like done anything for Brens and things like that. And, you know, just a bipod machine gun. He said, oh, well, machine guns, we're mostly going to look at the kind of tripody ones. They've got this range and do this kind of effect. So I'm not sure why he skipped around the firepower of the squad. As the old drill books will tell you in World War II, yeah, and indeed today, the firepower is the gunner. The rest of you are just there to keep him safe. Grenades are down as a weapon as well, which they've got, you know, they've got a range you can throw. Very useful for buildings, obviously. And Piats and bazookas and these sorts of things. And again, mortars, he's just got like a generic mortar. It says, oh, anything bigger than kind of an infantry mortar, that we're just going to call that artillery. So, like, he really does boil things down simply for a simple game. And he hasn't had 400 million different types of vehicles there. He said, okay, we're going to look at some basic vehicles. So let's just say we're going to pick and say we're going to choose 1944 as a time. So we're going to say, here's a Tiger, here's a Panther, here's a Panzer IV, and here's an armoured car. Allied side, we're going to say, here's a Churchill, here's a Sherman, here's a Stuart, here's an armoured car, you know. Kept it very, very, very simple and said you can look from these, and if you wanted to do 101 different vehicles and variants, you can, but you can see if, and again, he's sort of allowed you to make the game yours. Says, look, if this is what a Tiger's protection is, and this is what a Sherman's protection is, and you know, you've got a vehicle that you found that you can't live without putting in, and do it. You know, here's the T-34-85, here's the T-76. You know, they're all in there. But if you found something, oh well, this was like a slightly up armored car. It's better than the generic one you've got there, but it's nowhere near as good as a Panzer IV. All right, well, put it somewhere between the two. Easy, 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 easy. Everything's done on D6 rolls. When a unit gets to like half strength, it retires back because its morale is gone. A very, very simple set of games rules. As I said, the grandson has then put in cheat sheets. So this has got the stuff that you might need, like the strike values for guns. So what happens is guns have a strike value at a set range, depending on what they are. So a 17-pounder at, you know, 500 yards has got a strike range, a value of, you know, 12, to which you always add a d6. That's the final strike rank you've got, and you see if that beats the armor of the target you're looking at. If it beats it, then you do, you know, penetration damage, and you see what happens. So pretty simple, but yes, he's put all these cheat sheets in for you. So the rules themselves really boil down to about 4 pages of rules at the end there, after this lovely walk through the garden, and indeed a walk through the garden. You won't be able to see it, but what they've done is they've photographed models on the lawn, you know. So yes, here's the German recon team with a Kubel wagon, a pair of motorcycles, and 4 guys creeping forward through the grass. Oh, they are creeping forward through the grass. Some of these were there were some extras in the day. The original book, there were some articles the author did in Meccano magazine, of all things. So the Meccano magazine articles are now in the back of this book, and they were scenarios. There was some he did some test scenarios, which it was actually a joy to see. I've played those games. There was like a farmhouse, action at Twin Farms, and these sorts of things. I played that because, you know, you're reading the book. All right, let's set that up. And Force A comes from here. It consists of this. Force B comes here. There's these guys hidden in the woods. These guys hidden in the things. Whatever. So there's some interesting additional rules that a grandson has put in. He's put in some terrain rules and some rules for basically doing map-based maneuvers until you come into view if you want, and that can be used as a way of hidden movement and so on, as a very simple thing. So look, are these truly great World War II rules? Well, look, they're not great on detail. They've got enough detail to play a game. The idea was to get people playing. So as I said, he hasn't sort of differentiated between like tripod and bipod machine guns. You can, if that bugs you, sure. In fact, I always did. Rifle's got, 12 inches range, a 24 inches range for a tripod machine gun. Fine. I think we said a bipod machine gun's got about a 16, 18 inch range. And but you don't have to set it up, and however, it'll burn through ammunition unless you've got extra guys feeding it. Like I said, he's just got some key vehicles for each side. You can invent your values. If you really want I want the 57 mil discarding Sabo rounds on this. It's like, fine, we'll just have a look at it. If you've got some stuff that says it's got this kind of penetration, the conversation in the book told you how he reached those numbers, so just put it in there. So well, it had this many mils of penetration at this range. Oh, that many mils of penetration gives you just strike a zero off it. That's the number I've come to. All right, well, 100 mils penetration, so it's a factor of 10. Easy. So the conversation lets you continue the conversation and make the game yours. Lovely. Very playable rules. If I had kids and was trying to introduce them to gaming, this is a very good choice because it'll get them playing tactics, it'll get them playing the game, and it'll get them involved in trying to invent stuff. But no one's being asked to read the Encyclopedia Britannica or, more importantly, do something like bolt action and invest in massively overexpensive figures because these certain ones break these tiny bits of rules, and the rules lawyership takes over from the game. Here, the game is simple and robust and easily understood. So you can't finagle it. There's no rules lawyership in it because we're both operating off the same rules, and there's no special things we are doing to pull the wool over each other's eyes. We're just playing the game. But as an adult, I tried these out again and gave them a go, and they were a joy. It's individual kind of small unit tactics. So, yes, it's hut. I'm covering with these guys while these guys dash forward. Quick, grenade through the window, blam. Now run up the stairs. Good. Now I can see further. I'm looking down across the hill. Oh my God, yes, I can see his mortar group. I'm going to put a machine gun up on this window. Yeah, it's that kind of fun. Good rules. Good to have them back. I like the charm of the grandson deciding to kind of revamp his grandfather's book, but yeah, they're nice rules, worth taking a look at, thoroughly playable. You can get these off Caliver Press over in the UK, who are doing a great job, and there is a whole history of wargaming reprint project, but yeah, Caliver Books is reprinting this one. If you like the reviews, by all means, like, subscribe, and all that cool jazz. Do tell people about the channel, and I will see you as I find more cool stuff to share with you all. Okay, cheers everyone. Bye.